Hello, this is Angela Anderson, and today I'm going to show you how I did this painting of a poppy field with some wildflowers in it. This was a live stream event, so if you want to watch the full-length video, it's up on YouTube on my channel. The first thing I did was spritz down my canvas with a little bit of water, and this will just help our paints to absorb. I'm using heavy-body acrylics today. I started out with a coat of light blue permanent at the top of the canvas, and I left the corners open so that I could put in some Ultramarine Blue and blended those two colors together a little bit. Now you're going to clean out your brush a little bit and pick up some white and go to the bottom of the light blue there and blend in some white on your horizon line. And then pick up some of that medium blue color and just blend back into your other colors to soften all of the edges. You want to work fairly quickly and also have your paint somewhat thick so that you'll have working time in order to be able to blend before the colors start to dry. Once they start to dry, you need to stop and let it dry completely, and then you can go back over it if you need to add another layer of color. So then at the bottom of the canvas, we're going to add some water down there also and work our way back up into that white with some yellow ochre mixed with the white. And I'm just doing kind of a choppy horizon line there. And then I'm going to pick up a little bit more white and blend back over the yellow ochre white mixture to soften up the edge. And then I'm picking up the light green permanent. And I'm going to go down to the bottom of the canvas there with that. Fairly thick. I'm using a 1.5 or about a 1.5 inch or so brush. Then I'm just blending up towards that yellow, and as I get up towards the top of the yellow there, my paint is almost out of my brush, so I'm really dry brushing over the top of the yellow a little bit. And then I'm picking up deep turquoise green and adding some brush strokes at the bottom with my brush turned vertically so that it looks like grass strokes. And just do these randomly in different heights and go up to about the top of the light green where the light green and the yellow are blending. Now I'm going to put in some clouds, and I've switched to a Deerfoot Stippler, and I've picked up white at the very tip of the brush, and I've pounced it on to my canvas there, just tapping lightly up and down, and then use your finger with a little bit of water to soften the bottom edge of your clouds to blend them out. The clouds towards your horizon line will be smaller than the clouds towards the top of the canvas. And you can add as many clouds as you want. I wanted to leave a lot of that blue sky showing because I liked the colors there. So now I'm mixing up some yellow, cadmium yellow, in with my light green permanent, and I'm going to make some blades of grass with this. I've got about a 1/2 inch flat there, and I'm just going to make some vertical grass strokes with this edge of my brush and go all the way up to the white with this color. And now I'm picking up the deep turquoise, and I'm doing some more blades of grass with that deep turquoise all the way up. It's mixed in with that yellow green color, so it's not quite as dark. And then I'm switching over to my angle brush, and I'm going to pick up yellow ochre and do a few blades of grass with some yellow ochre. And that'll just unify that horizon line color. I'm kind of going for a soft yellow horizon, and that yellow ochre in the foreground will help unify everything. Alright, now for the poppies. So the basic shape of the poppy is sort of an oval. You can be kind of random, just have fun with this. There's no right or wrong. The poppies kind of all unfold and turn different ways, so sometimes they're more circular and sometimes they're more triangular in shape. So if you have a reference photo that you want to use, that would probably be helpful. I'm using Cadmium Red Deep, and I added just a little bit of white because it was sort of translucent, and the touch of white will just help it be more opaque and cover over the top of that green in one coat. So don't add so much that it turns it pink, but just add a little touch of white, and that'll help it be opaque so you don't have to do 2 coats of this color. And just place your flowers randomly on your canvas and vary the height and the size and the shape of them so that you don't have them all going in a straight line. Unless you want that look, I mean, you can do whatever you want. This is your painting. But just have fun with it. The ones that are you know, larger are going to be the ones that are sort of closer to you, and then there'll be some smaller ones that are peeking through the grasses farther away. So don't forget to put a few small pieces in there. And later I'm going to add a few more little dots of red here and there after I put in some of my other flowers. Okay, so while that's drying, we're going to put in some wildflowers. And these are like bluebells, or I don't know, or blue bonnets, I guess. In Texas they have these kind of a purpley blue flower, and I'm adding light blue permanent to my Dioxazine Purple and mixing that with white. And then I'm picking back up just a little bit of purple on one edge so that one side is a little bit darker than another. And now I'm picking up some Ultramarine Blue and adding that in also with the white. And these are sort of cone shapes. Don't do your dots too close together. Towards the bottom you want to widen the flower, and at the top you'll want to have just a few dots sort of on their own sticking up. It's a really fun, easy flower to do. It really adds a lot of color to a painting. So you can do these whatever color you'd like. If you don't want to do purple, you can use a different color. Now I'm using a number 4 round brush, and I'm painting a few daisies with some white. And you want to do your petals from the outside in towards the center. That's the easiest way of doing a daisy. You just kind of set your brush down and let it smush out, and then sort of lift it as you pull it towards the center of your flower. And that will naturally make your petals get smaller. There's a lot of really good videos out there for how to paint a daisy, so if you want to see that in more detail, you can look that up. Okay, so now I'm putting in a few more little dots of red, and I also added some random dots of white around in my field so that it wouldn't look too bare. Don't want a lot of open spots. There'll be a lot of stuff going on in the distance and in between the grasses, so you want to indicate all of that. Now I've picked up some of the yellow ochre and some of the cadmium yellow and just a little bit of raw umber, and I've loaded the raw umber on one side and the yellows on the other side of my brush, and I'm putting in the centers of my daisies that way. And then I'm putting a few dots of these yellows in my field as well, randomly. So then we're going to add the centers of our poppies with, we're going to start out with some raw umber. And the centers of our poppies will be either in the middle or towards the bottom edge of your poppies, depending on the way it's tilted towards you. The ones that are looking more straight at you will have the centers right in the middle, and then the ones that are more squished or like oval shaped will have the center of the flower down toward the bottom, so that it looks like the petals are sort of folded up and covering part of it. And just tap with like light dots. Actually, I think I used black for these. Now that I think about it, it wasn't raw umber, it was black. And now I'm mixing some Quinacridone Magenta and a little bit of white And I'm putting in a few little highlights. And just pull from the outside of the petals in towards the middle. Don't cover up the middle too much. You're just putting in your first layer of highlights. We'll have several layers of highlights here, so you don't want to cover too much of your red at this point. So put in a layer and then add a little bit more white and then put in a few more layers in over the top of what you've done. Just kind of vary the intensity. I've also added a little bit of the yellow ochre now, and I'm mixing a little bit of that in with my colors so that I'm making sort of an orangey highlight. And don't forget your little baby flowers. They need a highlight too. Okay, so now I'm mixing in some purple with my Quinacridone Magenta, and I'm going to make a shadow color for the inside of our poppies up near the centers. And I'm just painting this in lightly and blending it out as I go so that there's no harsh edges. I'm using very little paint and kind of almost dry brushing these colors on. Okay, and now I'm mixing in some of my Cadmium Yellow and my Magenta and White, and I'm making a soft salmon pink color. I'm going to use this over the top of my other highlight colors. And just add another layer of highlights, and this one you're going to do less than the first time. So each time you do a new highlight, you're going to do it less than the first time. So the first time you're going to cover most of the outside edges of your poppy. And then with this layer, you're only going to hit the very brightest areas. So if you get it too bright, you can go back in with some of the red and cover over. But I'm using the tip of my angle brush to help me sort of draw in some little soft, kind of random lines for my highlights, little dashes and dots. And if you sort of lift up as you pull down into your flower, and with a very light touch, you'll get kind of a soft dry brush effect, so you won't have to do a lot of blending. So you want it to go really light on your with a light touch with these highlights. Okay, now I'm mixing raw umber into with my yellow ochre, and I'm making a color for the centers of my poppies to give those centers a little bit of a highlight. I'm just touching little tiny little dots with my number 4 round. And if I'm going too fast in this video and you need more explanation, the full-length video is available for you to refer to as well. So if I've skipped over something too quickly here in this video, I apologize, but we're just trying to kind of make it quick so that you can get a short reference in case you want to try this yourself. Now I've got the deep permanent, or deep turquoise green, and I'm adding some stems to my flowers to make sure that they look like they're attached to something and not just kind of floating out in space. And add some random grasses here and there to fill in some of your empty spaces with this dark color. And then also we'll add some seed pods. Poppies have a lot of these kind of cone-shaped seed pods. So I'm just going to add a few of those with my light green permanent and my deep turquoise. And just add a few little random flower pods. or buds or whatever they are here and there. Make it look a little more realistic. Now I'm going to make a butterfly. One of my live stream ladies suggested I did a butterfly. I probably wish I had done him a little bit bigger, but anyhow, I did it a little teeny tiny butterfly back here in the background, kind of flying around. And I just mixed up a little bit of an orangey color. Thought that would be a good color for my butterfly. And now I'm using black to outline him, and then I got a drop of water and it kind of basically erased my whole butterfly, so I had to paint him again. So put in orange, outlined him with a little bit of black, and I'm using a liner brush for this, and then I added some white to my orange color to soften up and do a few little highlights in them, and then did some little spots and added some antenna. So there's my little simple butterfly. Like I said, you can make him a little bit bigger if you want to. But I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. It was a lot of fun doing this live with my fans, and I hope you can catch my next one. If you subscribe, I show you here how you can get notified about my new content, and it'll tell you about my next live stream. I'm going to be doing a live stream every 2 weeks. So I hope you can make the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.